Hello, and welcome to Late Night Comfy Hour, I guess.
That's what you came up with?
That just literally in the time between saying hello and having to have a name for the show.
What if we don't have enough content to fill an hour? Like, who gave you permission to go ahead and, like, set a time limit, you know? A time constraint for this podcast that we literally just, like, we have the mic set up just, like, kind of fucked around of a tripod and tried to get, like, a shot, and we're like, let's just be comfy and weird and vapor wavy.
Well, this is a podcast show. There's visuals, but they're just meant to sort of fade into the background.
Yeah.
You should watch this at like 3 a.m.
If you're up at 3 a.m.
That's what I'm gonna release it probably.
Yeah.
Will be in the wee hours.
Definitely. Like, this is if you can't sleep and you gotta...
Yeah, or you just like, something that happens to me often is I try to stay up late working, but I'm too tired to really work, but like I've got all this pent up energy, so I just end up watching like Half in the Bag. You know, like a 45-minute video that, like, just by the end of it, I have no strength or will to go on.
I mean, that's kind of, like, how I would consume content like this, but I would probably, like...
We both consumed my decompression chamber that way.
I mean, I would probably just give up on whatever I was trying to do productive and just, like, end up drawing and listening to something like this, or just, like, laying back on the couch, like, trying to sleep, but...
I literally several times, like, finished a decompression chamber, and then, like, I would get it uploaded, and then I would just, like, decide to listen to it back, and, like, that would put me out. Because, like, I'm at the end of a long day of work, and, like, I'm trying to convince myself to keep working, because listening to it back kind of is work. Like, it is generally in good practice to watch your videos back, in my opinion. Some people don't do it. Because they're like they really hate themselves, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate though, because in order to get better, you kind of have to, like, suck it up and watch your videos.
Or not even to get better, but just like to make sure that the video is what you think it is.
Yeah,
and that, like,
cause, like,
especially if you're gonna have to discuss it afterwards. Like, because I make a lot of unscripted content, and, like, but people are going to respond to the things I said. And so, like, there have been many times where people have, like, asked me questions about something that I literally don't remember saying because I haven't watched it back.
You have to be, like, completely sure in what you're saying and, like, the ideas you're putting out, especially if you're going to make videos that are kind of controversial and off the spur of the moment,
right.
You know? You really got to make sure that you're familiar with what you're talking about and you're not just blowing just, like, smoke out your ass.
Well, it's because I'm really unguarded with what I say, in spite of, like, you know, the fact that what I say is under a lot of scrutiny for some reason. So, like,
I mean,
you know,
because you are a personality. Like, if you're gonna be somebody who is successful because you're a personality, you're always gonna be under scrutiny.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, you want people talking about you, you know?
Yeah, though, definitely. It's always been to my benefit that people discuss me so much, except on a personal level where, like for my career, it is a benefit that, like, my name is always in people's mouths and ears, you know?
Yeah,
but, like, for my personal life, like, sometimes it's too much.
It's always preferable that, like, people are saying good things about you. Like, I'm not suggesting that, like, it's good to have people talk shit about you, but you can, like, kind of... Like, don't let that discourage you, you know? It doesn't mean that, like, you're shit. It just means that enough people are seeing your video and enough people, like... Like, your video's good enough and makes people think that they're able to have, like, such a negative reaction to it, and you're still able to be so successful and have fans, you know?
Right.
Like, that's what's real cool about your content.
Yeah.
Like, I get excited and people get upset, you know?
Yeah.
Like... I love that shit. I love drama. Like, that's part of your charm.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I mean, the world loves it. Like, the other, like, the smaller Annie-tubers don't like it because they see it as, like, they have associations with drama as, like, that's what guys, like, you know, Keemstar use to just, like, game it to get famous. But, like, there are ways to do drama with passion.
Oh, definitely.
There are ways to be like,
drama is like,
I actually care, you know, and that's why I'm starting shit.
Drama
you know?
drives people to create films and, like, art.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, important, like, controversial fucking cool shit, you know?
Right.
That's all that.
There was a comment on the Reddit thread, the Reddit board, the r/digibro Reddit. Someone had made a post that you read to me earlier that was it seemed very ESL and a little confused, but it was basically talking about 4D chess.
Oh yeah,
and
that one.
He was saying that like every time I do something that's like controversial, people say like insist that I'm like playing 4D chess.
Yeah, and he was just like talking about how like it really doesn't happen. Like that's really rare that somebody actually.
But the weird thing about it is that the examples he chose, like, some of them were things that, like, of course they were fucking calculated. Because, like, that's my main channel content. Like, it's supposed to be calculated on some level. Like, that stuff has thought put into it. That's why it's on that channel. Mm-hmm. You know, like, when I go off the handle and, like, just say some shit in, like, a Digibros episode that, like the stupid fucking Giga don't respect his content meme. Like, that was not calculated. There was no 4D chess there. I just, like, chose a really stupid phrase and decided not to edit it out because I thought it was funny. Yeah. I didn't think anybody would care. But because it made it to Gigic's ears and, like, someone cut it out and made it its own video, like, it became a meme. So, like, that was not no 4D chess. But something he cited as an example was, like, me trying to take the trolls off of Jesse and bring them onto me with my video about Mumkey. And, like, I explicitly do that in the video. I, like, literally say, hey, if you want to come troll me, go ahead.
You're kind of being a target on your chest, and it's like...
Right. And it was partly because I felt bad that, like, we hadn't really stepped up to face the trolls.
Go on
you know?
So long.
Well, because, like, Jesse kind of gave the impression that he didn't want to try to fight it because he didn't want to make a whole spectacle and, like, involve everybody else in it. But, like, you know, I felt guilty that I could have just thrown myself into, like, if I had thrown myself into the trolls, they would have started concentrating on me instead of him. And that's what finally did happen after that video. And, like, you know, even though... I'm not saying that, like, I can handle trolls well, but, like, I think I can handle... I think I have better means to handle them than Jesse does because I have a bigger audience, I have more defenders, I have more people who will, like, answer for me in comments, I have more people who will, like, do my entire argument in my place, like fucking pedantic romantic.
There are people who are, like, very passionate about you.
And not because they, like, are just, like, dick riding, but because they just legit see the world the same way I do. Like,
because every
time somebody talks shit about pedantic for, like, being a digi mouthpiece, I'm like, he just feels the same way that I do. Like, that's why he can express the things that I would express before I've said them, you know? That
makes, like, facing trolls less scary. Like, knowing there's people on your side.
And, like, having you on my PR.
I'm always on your side. Like,
there's a reason
I'm real vicious. I'm, like, kind of toxic. I was in the League community.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not afraid to fucking stand up for my man.
I mean, I've gotten, like, when I know that I've got, like, someone... and like, I've always been reading you my comments and shit, like, telling you about, like, the controversies I got into, but, like, it's not the same anymore. Like, it used to be you would come home from work and I'd be like, I got into a huge fight on Twitter while you were at work.
Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, I saw glimpses of it, like, when I could see my phone. And then I'd be like, I'd explain to you what happened and you'd be like, you'd comfort me. And that's not the same. That's like, I got beat up and I came crying to you and you comforted me afterwards. But, like, I still am going to be afraid to be out by myself. But this is now, like, we go out to war together.
Yeah.
Like, we go out to Twitter, like... I tweet and I tell you, like, I just tweeted, so, like, get ready, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I do still tweet while you're asleep or not looking.
I kind of wanted to talk to you about something, and I think this is a good opportunity to talk about it, because I was just reminded. When you dropped your latest video, like, I was kind of sad you didn't let me know, Because, like, I could have helped mod comments.
Right.
Like, I feel like if somebody was there at Ground Zero to check the comments, because, like, you dropped that at, like, 3 in the morning, and I was like...
Well, okay.
I didn't find out about the video until, like, there was, like, a huge controversy.
There was a reason
but, like,
that this was the case.
Yeah, I kind of get it. Like, now I'm like, oh, I know he didn't tell me. Like, he might have wanted...
No. It was just out of necessity. We had to fucking go to Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I mean...
So this video, I was just up at 4 a.m. I just happened to be up at 4 a.m. because I was working on other projects, and Devu messages me like, hey, the Sword of the Stranger video's done, and like, if I hadn't been awake at that time, I would not have gotten it uploaded before Sunday. It would have had to come out today.
Yeah.
And, like, Devu is, like, waiting on that fucking $500. You know, like, this nigga needs this video to be checked. And, like, I'm sure people are, like, itching for a Digibro video. Yeah.
Like, the sooner it comes out,
I need fucking shit on the main channel, you know, like...
For sure.
Because the next video is not, like, ready yet,
and,
you
like,
know,
you kind of need people to keep talking about you right now, like, because, like, you're in a period of constant experimentation, and you want people to, like, check out this other shit that you're doing, and to, like, give their input, and you're kind of trying to attract a new audience to your stuff, so like it's in your best interest to like drop the video as soon as you can when it's hot, and like like this is a perfect time to get people like
I mean, I wanted to have 5 videos out in January. Like, this video was supposed to come out January 31st, but, like, it just took too long because Devu had a whole lot of life drama going on.
I mean, that shit happens. And, like, one thing that I find really interesting and, like, I'm really excited about with this lifestyle is that my dad just was like, we're gonna go to Canada for your brother's birthday, like, are you in? And it's like, yeah, like, before it would be like, well, I'm working the weekend because I'm a manager at Target, and I get scheduled, like, I always got scheduled the worst hours because everybody else, like, has seniority over me, and they're like, oh, I don't want to work weekend nights, so I would always close weekends, like. Yeah.
To clarify, like, your dad, let's talk a little bit about, like, your family's trips, because your dad's job is that he, like, he makes pretty good money.
My dad is a successful, like,
upper middle class
salesperson, and, like, he sets, like, his own hours. Like, he doesn't have a direct supervisor. He works from home. Like, he can work at his own pace. He can kind of fuck around a little bit. There's a lot of breathing room, and, like, he gets a lot of travel perks and stuff. So growing up, it's always like.
Because he travels, like, all the time.
My dad's like, let's travel. So,
the consequence of this cushy job is that you have to drive, like, 8 hours regularly.
Like, my dad was telling me he had to, like, go
sell water pumps.
To some, like, really rural place in Canada. It was, like, a 10-hour. He said, like, it was, like, a 10-hour drive. He had to do it in 2 days. And then once he gets there, his customer's like, oh, the factory we have to go to is another 3 miles. And my dad's like...
3 hours.
3 hours, not 3 miles. Like, so that was 13 hours. So that's, like, 26 hours. That's a whole day plus an hour in the car. Like... Yeah. Like, and you can't do anything.
And the last 3 hours were with the guy.
You have to be focused on driving, and, like, my dad has sleep problems and shit. So, like, this lifestyle isn't, like, glorious, but
no,
like, I got to travel a whole lot because of it.
Right, and so Niagara Falls, which is like, it's like we went we went in July in the summer, and it was a great time.
Yeah,
and we spent the whole time walking. We walked like. How many miles did we walk that day?
Oh, my phone said we walked, like, I think 16 miles.
Right.
Something like that.
So we were, like, just nonstop walking around Niagara Falls on both the U.S. and Canada side. Like, we walked across the bridge, which is just, like, this, like, basically Niagara Falls is, like, a big canyon with a waterfall, and there's just a bridge connecting the U.S. and Canada. And the U.S. side is a beautiful park, and the Canadian side is a beautiful tourist trap. And they're both pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
but like the Canada side is like the obvious fun side.
And it's only because like there's a better view of the falls.
Oh, it's like way better looking on the Canadian side.
And it's fascinating how like they were able to build this like booming tourism like culture around just the fact that there's a cool scenery for a photo.
Right.
And like
everything is geared around
I feel like it's really
the city is built on a slope so that like at every elevation you can still see the falls.
I feel like they could have embraced selfie culture more. Like shout out to my own video though. You should watch my 3x3 selfie video.
And we took a fucking glorious selfie 3x3 glorious selfie at the falls. I will post it on screen. at this time code. So if you're not watching the video right now, you can look at the screen and you will see the selfie that we took at Niagara Falls, which is high level not because of the view of the falls per se, but because of the concept and the composition
of the shot, and just like how the focus was on the toast.
Right.
And it was like really jarring because like a photo like that can only be created with like a smartphone and a forward-facing camera, and kind of just the way that camera warps perceptions, because a forward-facing camera is not the same way our eyes like see light.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be distorted like highly, and especially with like autofocus and shit. It was just like really funny because like we had this like meme idea of this picture, and then it ended up evolving into like this weird like statement piece.
Yeah, it became more like artistic in the end.
Yeah, it was just like really
than
intriguing.
It was intended to be.
And I found myself like looking at it like, this is a real fucking dope picture. Like,
right.
You could draw so much meaning out of it that's like unintentional.
I think that okay, so I've talked about this in places, but it's really difficult for me to explain this in a way that doesn't sound pretentious as fuck. Mm-hmm. But like a huge element, like I cannot understate how huge of an element of my work is serendipitous editing, or serendipitous like moments where I just throw a lot of shit at the wall and then I see what sticks and like I leave it there. And like, for instance, the Pantsu Party videos, literally my instinct was, let's try the K-On! Soundtrack. And then every segment of a Pantsu Party video, we just like, we pick a song from the soundtrack that we think will kind of match with that segment.
Yeah.
And it's usually, like, startling how good it is.
Yeah.
Because we'll be thinking, like, oh, we're talking about Razor Fist, so let's put in, like, a metal-sounding song. And then you put it in, and it just, like, matches the delivery perfectly, because that is the aesthetic of talking about Razor Fist.
Yeah.
And, like, you know... So, just, like, matching those different
really
things,
fun,
like,
I think,
enhances the videos amazingly.
I know, and I really, like, appreciate your contribution to that. Like, when you suggested the K-On! Soundtrack, I was just like, that's genius, because, like, the atmosphere of that show is, like, exactly the vibe that I'm trying to go for.
Right.
And I think it's, like, really interesting that, like, I wasn't able to make that connection, but when you were able to, it just enhanced the video so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's, like, real important to branding yourself, is to, like, be like, hey, there's not going to be a lot of consistency in this early content, but like the vibe I'm trying to go for is like, there's K-On! Music in my vlogs.
Yeah.
And my name is Pantsu Party, so like,
you know what's going on some level.
You know that like you're in for a wild ride, and like I'm really excited, guys.
I think fuck yeah, with the serendipitous music thing, like, most people when they edit music into a video try to go for something more dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, or they're trying to make it non-existent. Like, something like Every Frame a Painting, where he's just using, like, Nujabes and J Dilla beats.
Yeah.
Like, the main purpose is just, like, this is a soothing thing to hear in the background, you know? And, like, that was hugely influential on the genre of, you know, videos that I'm a part of. But I used to do that, and I just thought it sucked. Like, I didn't think those... Because the songs all got overplayed.
Oh, yeah, it's not
Everyone
a
used the
creative
same
way
fucking
to, like,
songs,
take that
you know?
approach.
Right.
Because, like, there's so much good music out there that you could use for the same purpose, but why is everybody using the same shit?
Here's the thing, is that theoretically, like, the lo-fi hip-hop sound is perfect.
Yeah.
However, the problem is that when you're doing these kinds of videos, you need there to be almost no high-end sounds. Because if you hear, like, an obnoxious, like, in the upper register, it distracts from your voice. And so, on the Samurai Champloo soundtrack, even though theoretically all those songs are perfect, because Aurorian Dance is like the only song that has no high end, and it's like the best song on the album, that's the one everyone went for. And like eventually I just like roll my eyes when I hear it, even in my own videos from the era.
The music is perfect, but it's perfect for fucking Samurai Champloo, you know?
Right.
Like, it's not perfect for analytical videos.
I mean, it's perfect in the sense of, like, if you just want background music that, like, it just fits no matter what, that works. But that, because of that, it's almost like Kevin MacLeod music. Like, like it feels like freeware music because you've abused it so much.
Yeah, it just, like, it feels like people have settled for something that, like, is cool.
Right.
You know, but they don't like bother to explore different kinds of music, and there's so many like creative things you could do with background music.
Yeah, and it's nothing new of me to use like stuff from Moe shows, and I've been doing it forever. Like I've been using the Hidamari sketch soundtrack in vlogs like fucking since 2014 when I did the otaku shopping vlog. Do you remember that one where I like teach you how to buy shit?
Yeah.
That whole thing is all Hidamari
really
sketch music for like 45 minutes.
That's real cool.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch that video because I feel like that's kind of what I'm going for.
It is a little closer because that was when I was going for real clean. Like that's like one of the cleanest vlogs I ever made. Victor shot that vlog.
I wondered like if this like my idea of my vision, if I'm just gonna fall into the same kind of like trap as you, or like, oh well, it's just so much easier to be like
no,
this,
but the
this
thing is
dirty,
that
dingy
the
creature.
fact that there is two of us allows us to go for a cleaner aesthetic.
It's true.
Because like that shit, all the shit I do for you in your vlogs is just shit that Victor like had to do for me for it to be good, but he wouldn't fucking do it because he hated it. Like he really hated working on my videos because they felt directionless to him, and like all he was really doing is setting up lights, but like I always look weird. Like he doesn't really know how to make me look good on camera, but like I know how to make you look good on camera, and I'm excited to work on your videos. So for me, like I'm always willing to put together the lighting rig, you know.
That one picture you took of me in that like uniform, one of a fan sent us. I was like really afraid to let you take the picture because I'm like, well, I want the picture to look good, and like the selfies I was taking did not like I could not get the right setup, you know. Right. The mirror we have is like a real crappy $5 Walmart mirror, and I'm trying to like arrange it in a way that like, you know, looks like good, and I just like couldn't get like a quality like view of what I actually look like and make it look good. But like when you were doing it, you captured exactly what I was going for, but in a completely different way than I was expecting, and I was really happy. Like it looked like a Japanese porn shoot, and I was like, this is perfect.
Because I like, really understand how to capture that aesthetic because I fucking studied it from reading so much fucking porn.
And you understand that, like, I also appreciate that aesthetic too, but I'm kind of, like, afraid to embrace it just because it's real weird. But, like, once I saw that, and I was like, oh my god, I totally love it. I made that picture my Facebook profile picture.
Yeah, like, I should put that on here. Here's a picture that we are referring to that is currently the Facebook profile picture if you want to look at the screen again.
But, like, my friends and family who have no idea, like, what I'm doing, like, the people who I told at Target that I was just, like, moving, like, I was like, oh, I'm not moving, but it's like, next year. Like, I just, like, don't want to work here. Like, this is what I'm doing in the meantime is, like crazy shit. Like this is what you see. It's just like I look like I've gone completely nuts. Yeah. And I want people to think that.
That was the phase I went through. You know, like when I when I was Digibrony, my Facebook avatar was fucking Digibrony. Like like people knew I had like become an internet celebrity for fucking analyzing a children's cartoon. I see like my friends in my extended family.
I see my friends on Facebook and like my family as like potential fans.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I'm excited.
Oh yeah, that's why I fucking did it.
Because I know some of the people on my Facebook will be really into this and they'll be excited that somebody they know is like on YouTube.
And the thing is that I'm really good at defending what I do as an art form to normies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's harder for me to justify it to like harsh critics because they're gonna hate me.
I don't know. You make my parents love you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Your parents are normies though. Like it's real easy. To, I'm good at I'm good at like going right over just right over someone's head in a way that makes whatever I do sound impressive.
It over,
Well, like you just say like, well, it's like a movement.
I mean, you just kind of like
or
put
like,
that,
oh, this is like how the millennials are like. It's like, well, because millennials can't really enter the job market because of like, you know, the baby boomer generation.
Well,
like,
the thing is,
we have to invent our own jobs, and therefore we've like found this system where we like go around the advertisers in order to have like a grassroots like, you know, if I describe it like this, it sounds really fucking fancy what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely,
you know?
And I think it's really impressive that you know how to communicate with like my parents so well. You don't know that much about them, like.
It's because your dad's they're both salesmen.
Yeah.
And my dad is a salesman, and so everyone I've ever met is a salesman.
You instinctively knew, like, how to just talk to them. Like, You know what those people value.
Because my dad, okay, so for the audience who might not know, my dad was a general, like, he was started as a fucking car salesman, just like a regular salesman, and worked his way up to general manager over the course of about 10, 15 years, and he's been a general manager for like 10 years on top of that. So he's been doing it, I want to say he got it in 1997, so do the math yourself. Like, I know what I said does not add up, but
it's
like...
21 years.
Okay, so like, yeah, 10 years to get to GM, 10 years as a GM. So like, and my parents threw parties constantly. Like, throughout my whole life, my parents always do tons of parties, and they introduced me to every fucking person that my dad works with, and my dad brags about his kids fucking incessantly. He makes people who work for him watch my videos. And so when I meet these people at parties, like, they all kind of know who I am, and I have to, like, try to explain to them YouTube in a way that they're gonna understand. And because I know how to sell, because, like, obviously it's what my channel is, essentially, is, like, me just convincing you of my opinions, like, I'm selling you my opinion, you know? The way my dad sells cars is a lot like the way I present my videos. Like, my dad gets, like, real dramatic and, like, forms a narrative with you, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you definitely learned, like, your communication style from your dad, and he's, like, real charismatic.
Because he's like, a long-winded motherfucker, man.
Oh, yeah.
And he can sell anybody anything, but he does it in a very sincere way, because he does not like ripping people off. Like, he is not really, like, a shyster or anything like that. He just, like, is good at convincing people to buy a car, you know? So he just outsold everybody. Not that he, like, made more off of each sale, but just, like, sold way more cars, you know?
My mom, too. My mom's also, like, in car sales, and she is very charismatic, but in a different way, and, like, because...
She's all about, like, the rapport and, like, having return customers,
but, like,
and stuff.
She has really interesting, like, relationships with her customers, but... Because, like, she's, like, a woman and stuff, like, those tactics don't always work the same way they would work with, like, men.
Right.
And there isn't a lot of female salespeople to kind of, like, have a role model.
Yeah.
You know, because male and female communication styles are so different where you can't, like... It's not one size fits all.
Right.
Like, the way I communicate is, like, vastly different from the way, like, you do. And, like, a lot of that has to do with sex.
I wonder if your mom would be, like, better suited to work in a bank.
Okay, my mom was a really good bartender, and she was a really good jewelry salesman. She was, like, better at... My mom worked in a bank. My mom worked tons of, like, odd
She actually
jobs.
worked in a bank? Because that, like, it's totally what I imagined her doing.
She,
like, wanting
sold
return
insurance.
customers and, like, a relationship.
She did modeling. My mom did, like, a whole bunch of, like things that you don't need a degree for, but, like, require a lot of charisma and, like, a certain character. But my mom would be better in different sales, I think. Like, I think she'd probably be better at selling houses. And she'd make a lot
you
more
definitely
money.
need to build relationships with people
like,
for that.
I
like,
really,
my mom is like her realtor is like one of her good friends. You know?
I don't talk to my mom a whole lot, but if she's watching this for any chance, I know she likes to, like, watch my videos. I think you'd be a really good, like, house salesperson, because I think that just fits your communication style more, and, like, you know.
I think I agree. From
if
what
you're
I,
interested
from what I
in,
know
like,
of
flipping
your mom.
houses and stuff, I think that'd be pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, renovation going on here in Rochester.
Yeah,
like they're trying to save.
If
this
you're passionate about that, I would encourage you to, like, try that out, because I feel like you'd be really successful in it.
Well, that's heartfelt and beautiful. Also, your dad sells water pumps, so they're both salesmen.
Oh, yeah, both my parents are salesmen. My dad's not a charismatic person at all, but he's a genius.
He's got a lot of the, like, he's got the logistical...
Oh, yeah.
He'll, like, go out for you to have a beer and tell a lot of edgy jokes and, like, show you some graphs.
My dad is a definite edgelord, and he, like... The way he builds a reputation with his clients is, like... He'll be real, like... logical and know all the facts and stuff, so he'll go in, he'll be like, I'll fix your shit, because, like, you know, sometimes, like, the stuff he's selling isn't the greatest, you know, but it's pretty, like, the technology really isn't there for them to be able to mass produce water pumps, like, with the quality that you would want,
right?
You know, like, these pumps and stuff are going in hospitals, but, like, there's just, like, isn't enough money being put into, like, developing this stuff fast enough, so, like, the shit breaks a lot. So my dad, like, has to, like, he gets a call overnight. Oh, I have to drive like to Quebec tomorrow. To fucking like to help this guy who doesn't know how to operate a pump.
Mm-hmm.
And like, or maybe the pump's broken or something. But my dad's like real good at fixing shit. But then he'll go out for beers later, and my dad's an edgelord, so he'll be like, he has a lot of good stories and stuff, but you just have to like get him in the right mood to tell those stories.
Yeah, you gotta just you know. Like your whole family is very like mood oriented.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're
and
like they gotta get into like the right headspace to all like each other, and alcohol and like doing fun things and going to like casinos and doing stuff like that.
The most interesting like thing about my family and how we communicated with each other was, you were not heard if you were not funny.
Yeah.
Like no matter what you're saying.
It's really funny you say that, because like, I don't know if I told you about this, but this is like one of the most fascinating stories I've ever heard, and like this is what made me want to hear like more female perspectives on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Was when I did this show called The Brony Chronicles with Neil X, which was probably the most like high-minded brony content on the internet.
Oh boy.
It was like 6 like older analytical YouTubers. I was probably the youngest guy in the group. And all of us were like very like pseudo academic,
mm-hmm.
but like, you know, like but basically a bunch of people on like my level kind of, you know, like, and we're all having this like discussion about bronies, and it's like fucking 6 long ass episodes, right? And it's a very experimental podcast. But one of the only girl we had on was this girl called Clover Keane, who I think was in like her late 20s, and she was talking about how she had always wanted to be an actress, and like growing up she realized that there were really just like not a lot of roles for women. It was pretty much just always you could play like the girlfriend or the wife or like the damsel or whatever, like in like most of the old plays, because they just didn't write roles for women really. And like if you didn't want to play those roles, then like you're basically shit out of luck. Mm-hmm. And then she was also talking about how like as men you are expected to be funny. Like, men all, like, the way we judge other men is, like, are they funny? The PCP, that is, like, literally the basis of the group. Is that, like, we all think each other are funny, and if we didn't, then we would, like, you know, I think part of why, like, Jeff never really fit in that much is that, like, nobody thought he was that funny,
and stuff.
You know?
Like, I was raised, like, where comedy is, like, a virtue, you know? Because, like, everybody in my family is fucking depressed, you know? And comedy is, like...
It's how you communicate
we deal
with it.
You know, it's how everybody just kind of deals with it.
Because if you can make it funny, then we can all like understand each other. You know, like nobody wants to feel bad and nobody wants to bring down the mood. Like we all understand. We're all in the same place. Yeah. We're all clearly like we're not the most functional people. But like if we can all laugh about it together, we can have some camaraderie.
A lot of people like it's like hard to be around people who are always criticizing themselves.
Yeah.
But, like, if somebody is able to do it with, like, humor and a little grace and a little bit of, like, humbleness, like, it can make that, like, a very charismatic and, like, it can make them
it a likable trait, you know? That's,
you know?
I mean, that's what, like...
You can turn your insecurities into something great, and that's kind of like the fat guy,
most of the self-deprecating comedians are like that, like, they...
I mean, I definitely relate to, like, comedians, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, your whole family definitely is like everything's a wisecrack.
I mean,
everything's everything's like an attack.
Yeah, we'd watch like comedy specials every night, you know, for like years.
I can tell y'all watched all the roasts. Like,
oh yeah. Your
family would have been big into roasts.
Like I got made fun of the most because I was like an easy target because I'm real dysfunctional. You know?
The funny thing about it is that like in my family it's weird because my mom is more like that, but my dad's really not. My dad's like real sincere, and Victor's real sincere, and neither one of them really likes to be made fun of. So like me and my mom, like my dad will laugh at anything, you know, don't get me wrong. He's not like, you know, like picky about comedy or anything, but like me and my mom will watch those roasts and we will roast each other. You know, me and my mom will fucking lay into each other. Yeah. And we will both lay into my dad, but I can like you got to be careful. You know, like, you can't lay in, too many times because he's going to start to be like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah, my mom's the same way. Like, she definitely isn't on that same wavelength. But, like, I feel like my brother, sister, and dad and I all kind of, like, bonded heavily over just being people who related to comedy.
And being real savage towards each other,
I mean, that's how, like, we showed each other we cared.
Right. I mean, I've always been like, I am definitely like unnecessarily savage towards my dad, just because of the fact that like, I don't even really know why. Like, it started in my like early 20s that like, if there was like a chink in the armor, I was gonna like really lay into it, and I don't know if it's just like me needing like something, because like I don't know, my dad is like clearly superior to me, you know, in like his lifestyle, so
I think it's real fascinating.
I need something to get a leg up, you know,
to kind of like look into how people's perceptions and relationships with their parents change as they become like 20 somethings and become established people, because like once you move away from home, like, are you the kind of person that's gonna pick up your phone and call your parents, or are you the kind of person that like is gonna kind of like hide until you like have something to show them? Because like I'm kind of afraid that my parents think that what I'm doing is completely insane, because like I'm not even sure that what I'm doing isn't completely insane.
Yeah.
You know, and like I don't want to like I'm kind of embarrassed until I have like proof that I'm doing something right.
Right.
I'm kind of like, you know, I'm kind of ashamed of the choices that I've made, you know. I've made some bad choices, and I know you guys don't like, but it's not true, it's in my head. Like, my parents love me a whole lot, but like I just want to prove to my parents that I'm doing well.
Yeah.
And like I'm kind of like holding off until like they can like really see me bloom, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want them to see like the diamond, like the rough. I want them to see the
like,
diamond.
Getting into an artistic career in a serious way always means taking a big risk.
Oh yeah.
Like, unless you're going to like bust your ass and work round the clock, and even then like we see what happens with Nate, where like he's probably never going to be able to like really blow up until the day he can leave his job and like go be a full-time artist, you know, like,
yeah,
I have to play a new fucking
I know
release.
I was hearing you shaking your legs, and I thought it like there was somebody knocking on the door. I got paranoid after the pizza man today.
Crystal fucking Tokyo.
Oh my god.
I think this might have been the origin of Japanese niggas, the chant from PCP from Radcon.
Hell yeah.
But so
oh boy.
So yeah, like that sort of insincere, like, joking way of like talking about your problems definitely like can ease the pain of talking about it. And I've noticed with your family, like, we'll be at the house like getting ready to go somewhere, and all anybody's really doing is like just kind of, no one's really talking to each other. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing, like waiting for everybody to be ready.
Yeah.
Like, you know, no one's really having a conversation. But then, like, once everybody's like kind of drunk and said a few self-deprecating jabs, like the deep shit comes out.
Are introverts.
Yeah.
You know, like they can be social, but like you have to really work it out of them. And I feel like my brother isn't really willing to like work with you unless like you have some kind of like, you know, unless like he's in the right mood.
Right.
Like, my brother's really hard to like talk to, but like when you do get him in the right mood, he's like a real deep guy.
Fucking Shade is the same way.
Yeah.
But the way you get Shade in the mood is you get him drunk.
Yeah.
And unlike your brother, who is like a super heavyweight, and we spent all night last night trying to get him fucking drunk, Shade is a super lightweight, and you can give him 2 cups of wine, and he will be like the most open man in the world. I highly recommend, if anybody's curious about Shade, go watch the fucking Super Meat Boy Digibros episodes, because it's where me and Shade get real shit faced, and like we get really deep. And there's a part where Shade like is talking about like just exuberantly how much he loves himself and his life, and how like he almost feels bad because me and Victor were depressed, and he like has never felt that way. Like, he's felt sadness, but he has never understood, like, overall considering your life bad.
Yeah.
And that's why he's able to, like, work at Domino's and be happy, because, like, he just loves himself in his life, and he really relates to the song I by Kendrick Lamar as, like, his favorite song.
That's real amazing. Like, that's like, real beautiful.
Well, that and Angels by Chance the Rapper.
I haven't seen that Digibros, but, like, I'd love to, and that just sounds, like, real pure.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Like,
beautiful. Like it was the
that's
it
what
was
we
the
should
only
all strive
time.
for. It's just to like have that kind of like security and like, you know, I'm confident in like what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. What I like to do. Like, you know, I don't have to play by like what people want me to do. Like, I'm doing just fine doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's real. Like, that's real pure and beautiful.
Yeah, and in a way, it's like, because at first I really didn't understand why Shade wasn't putting more into his art instead of into.
Both of your brothers are like real upstanding people.
Yeah.
Like you guys were all raised real well.
Well, and I think like I didn't want to say this because this is like a little too deep, maybe like to say, but like I feel like I still like really admire my parents. And like for you, it's more like you have to be like friends with them, like on their level, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like in your family, like everyone's kind of in a transitional phase of life.
Yeah.
And in
like,
my family, my parents are like just set in stone at this point. Like ever since they became vegans, they're just like fucking mystical fairy creatures. And like I don't understand them at all. Like I don't know what they're up to. Like I don't know what they're doing. I just know that they seem really happy with themselves.
Both your parents seem like happy and like your parents have something that my parents like don't, you know?
Right.
Like
still
they
being
have that
together.
fulfillment and like my family's like constantly like trying to like change the situation because it's not always the best way to be.
Right.
But like when I'm doing really well, I feel like I can be friends with my parents, that we can be on equal levels and I can like see them as equals.
Oh yeah.
But like when I'm not doing that, I just feel like I'm a burden on them and like
it's
I should
a real
just be
comforting
away.
feeling to know that like you are an independent adult, because like even if your parents might be like a little sad that they might not hear from you as much or like understand what you're doing as much and like get that communication, like all that your parents have ever really wanted you to do is to be successful and happy. Like that is the end goal no matter what. Your parents just think you will not be successful and happy unless you make a lot of money. And especially like there's some parents, and this is why like in cases like Indian parents where like they really pressure you to become like a doctor, like a high level career, and it's because they think if you don't get that high of a level career you won't be protected in your old age. They think like, oh, you could get like, yeah, sure, you can get a job that makes decent money, but like when you're old you'll have nothing saved up, you know? And like I think we live a little bit more hard-edged than that, and like understand that like there's always something blue collar you can do, and you're fucking like my dad can sell cars until he's fucking 70 if he has to, you know? Like you can do that kind of like work. Me and you have both seen through that facade. We're like, we don't need to become a fucking doctor to be like happy in life.
I think my parents kind of realized that like I don't really have a lot of practical skills, and they think that the solution to like me, because I am somebody who is an intelligent person and well-read and like a fast learner and can do well in school when I feel motivated, but what was I like? My parents like just wanted me to take the school route because they thought that that would lead to like an actual job, and like they're I feel like they're a little hesitant to support me when I'm doing something that like there is no proven right way to do it. And a lot of it is about taking crazy risks. But like I'm a risk taker, and I don't think my parents have like seen enough of that to like really understand.
You definitely are a big time risk taker.
I mean, like that's kind of like what the May persona
went to sorority, like, and like that from that depth there is no like,
oh, I'm hardcore as fuck. Like if I like am, if I feel motivated to do something, I will put all of my energy towards it, even if it's something that will like.
I don't think anything in the world of becoming a YouTuber will ever be as difficult as pledging to a sorority was.
No.
Like, and not giving up.
Like, honestly, I think the thing that sorority taught me the most was discipline. And I think that everybody should go through some kind of regime. Like, you know, people shit on hazing a whole lot, but like, hazing does have like a role in development. Like in personal development. There's a reason why like the army hazed There's a reason why, like, Greek, like, the actual
I mean,
Greek
essentially,
hazed.
it's meant to make you woke.
I mean, families, like, most families, traditional families, have some kind of hazing form in them. Like, like siblings will, like, bully their siblings, make them do things. And, like, I feel like it's a very natural response just to, like, to teach discipline, because discipline, like, is success. Like, you need to be disciplined.
I think the problem with hazing and like that whole concept is that we as a society have not figured out how to effectively systematize that in a way that won't fuck people up.
And because colleges like hate hazing so much, people just mix in alcohol and drugs into it. And once you add that into like something where you're like playing of people's like feelings and emotions and manipulating them, and once you add like a substance in there, it's real scary. And a lot of like, you know. Yeah, a lot of really scary things happen, and it, like, this stuff isn't well reported on, so people have like a really kind of misconstrued interpretation of what hazing actually looks like. Like, before I went into Greek life, like, I believed that like I would probably have to get naked. Like, I was like very convinced that like I would have to like show my tits or like do something degrading to get into the sorority, and like I didn't know how willing I was to do that, and I was like if I have to have sex with somebody, I will, like, stop. Like, I'm unwilling to do that, but I was, like, certain there would be some, like, degree of, like, degradation there. But it wasn't. It was all about, like, building teamwork and, like working together as a team. And, like, the shit you had to do, like, it might, the reasoning why you were doing it may not have been apparent at the time, but it was really to teach you a deeper meaning. And, like,
it's some Mr. Miyagi shit.
So, like, I can't talk too much about hazing because a lot of it's like secretive and stuff, and like I've like sworn to secrecy, you know.
Yeah.
But that's part of like the appeal of it, you know. If you like the occult and you like mystery, like I do, I was always really fascinated about like this underground lifestyle that like people said all this shit about, but nobody really knew. Like, there's a reason that hundreds of girls like do it every year. There's a reason why people like join Greek life, and
you don't want like. You're curious enough about it that you want to know what will it be like to be 28 and to have been in Greek life, so you don't want to get kicked out of it by, like, telling their secrets just yet, you know? Like...
Oh, no, I just respect the, like, I respect the philosophy behind it, and, like, like, I am against, like, hazing when it involves drugs and alcohol and, like, and hurting people, but, like, I believe that, like, hazing as just a concept has always existed, and it's like part of our biology to kind of like haze people because it builds discipline. Yeah. You know?
I think
maybe not biology, maybe psychology.
Think, like,
it may be like more social.
I think that like the Karate Kid movie presents a healthy form of hazing.
That's definitely hazing. Like anytime,
like, because there's no like, because the problem with like the way that people think about it, when people like fucking Carlos Mencia, who was like very into like the you need to hit your kids mentality of like, oh, how will they ever learn unless they feel pain? And it's like there's other ways. Like, if you make them feel pain, they are going to resent you on some level. And, like, that resentment is going to damage their personality. So, yes, they will be disciplined, but they will probably be angrier. They might, you know, be more likely to be aggressive or abusive themselves.
I feel like teaching discipline is not the jobs of the parents. Like, I feel like the systems that we have, like school, was traditionally meant to teach discipline. The military, which a lot of people went into, like, a lot of people just like went to school like knowing I'm gonna join the army. That's an institution that like teaches people discipline, and that discipline those people use to do great things with. Hopefully, it doesn't always work like that, like because the government doesn't support troops, you know. But like people hope that they go into the army and it'll teach them discipline. But like I feel like when families start to teach discipline, because those people they don't know what they're doing. They're not practicing like an actual like practice. They're just like, oh, my kid fucked up, like what do? I should hit him, you know. And that's fucked up. You should never like hit your kid ever. Like,
because there's just better ways.
I mean, there are times when like I can defend like the action of being hit. Like when I was a kid, I ran out in the middle of the street when I was like 4, and my mom like grabbed me and spanked me, so I knew like that there was going to be a consequence. Like that, what I did, I should never ever do. But like that's only in times where like you need an instant punishment. And that's only like life-threatening times. Like you shouldn't hit your kid if like they bring home a bad grade.
Yeah.
Like that's unreasonable. But there's a lot of gray area when it comes to people willingly putting themselves into a hazing situation.
Yeah.
I think if there's consent involved into it, then we're talking about something different, and it shouldn't be dismissed and discussed as something that is completely evil. And that is something I feel very strongly about.
Sick tits.
Oh, I'm sorry for ranting about.
That's okay. I just have nothing to add. I think you've ended on a good place there with that rant.
Yeah.
So, to move on from that, I guess we can close the chapter on the first 50 minutes of this video. That was like one long kind of spiraling discussion.
I mean, wasn't that the point? I felt like this is
this is exactly what I wanted this podcast to be. But there was a topic that we had planned to discuss on the podcast, which is what the fuck is the Corrupting Your Kids channel? Oh my god,
I feel like this definitely has to be addressed. So this is what we should focus the episode on.
Okay.
The rest of it.
Corrupting Your Kids, this channel that you're watching, is a very experimental channel.
Oh, yeah.
And its purpose is that because the two of us spend literally all of our time together. Like,
we're not always doing the same things, but we're in the same room. We're usually listening to the same music or like...
And if we're gone, we go together.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We eat together, we go to the gym together, we bathe together, we fucking sleep together.
Yeah, we're like fucking John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Yeah, basically.
Like, that's literally our lifestyle.
So, like...
ATM.
I just hope I don't fucking get shot. But...
It's okay. I will die for you. You know?
Well, I don't want you to die either. I don't want either of us to get shot.
I mean, I'll take a bullet for you. I feel like you're more.
Die.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do a booty.
Yeah.
I'll jump booty first.
I can. Bullet holes are hot in a girl.
Yeah. I'll jump booty first.
Dead.
If somebody's trying to snipe you, I'll be like, dead can be hot.
Well,
what
not
are you
for long.
fucking hating on?
For like a little bit, but then it decomposes, and it's not. Anyway,
no, that's true. That's true.
Okay. What the channel is, so because we spend like all of our time together, and because we both like have the goal of becoming YouTube famous, it seems like the most obvious path is for us to become famous together, in the same way that like Ethan and Hila are, where like. They just work together, and like not in the same sense where like Hila mostly works on Ethan's videos, and then like she's also a co-host of the podcast. Like in our case, it's more like we want there to be our individual content, but then like we have something together.
Oh yeah.
And what I believe is that there is potential that the thing we do together could be more popular than either of our solo endeavors.
Even if it's not, I'll have a ton of fun making stuff with you, and I really love that we can just have this weird brainchild together.
I want to know how far it can go.
Oh, me too.
Because
it's real fun. It's real fun to be able to push the limits like this.
Yeah, and when I had you on the After Dark channel, it was usually like you were slotted into my shows, or like when we had our own shows, they were like a little half-baked in concept. We didn't like go all the way with anything, and like you were in like the Digibros and stuff, and it's just like it wasn't like I made up shows for the two of us to do based on our dynamic. It was like I slipped you into shows that like I already have, like Finish or Fail.
Yeah, this is very much so about like just working our unique personalities into like something weird.
Finish or Fail is a show where I watch a whole thing, and then I stop, like, I commentate on it afterwards with all the thoughts I've built up over the course of the show that I've been, like, keeping track of. But the way that you and I talk most of the time is free-form exploration of ideas.
It definitely, like, isn't made for the way that we watch something together, but it's definitely perfect for how you would just watch the show.
Exactly.
Which is why we haven't really, like, nailed a way to do it right.
Exactly.
And I think that maybe it's just... like, maybe I don't need to be in Finish or Fail. But, like, we can do seasonal bullshit together.
Exactly.
Because, like, I would be interested in watching all the seasonal shows because, like, I would be interested in being in podcasts with people about different seasons. But I feel like you're above that because, like, I'm starting.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that beginners do. It's like, I want to be in everything. I want to be with everybody. I want to work with everybody. I want to get my name out. And I think it's more important for me to work on that. But, like, Finish or Fail is what your fans are coming to you for.
Right.
So I feel like you can do Finish or Fail, but like I love being able to do like a variant of that together.
Yeah.
That just like fits like our weird like aesthetic as a couple.
Yeah, and I think that like the primary way that we've like come to communicate with each other is like we get really high and we sit on the couch and we watch stuff and we talk about it. Sometimes we don't even watch stuff. Like, the reason that I was inspired to make this podcast today is that a lot of the time we just like stand around and talk for fucking hours about like whatever ideas come into our head. And a lot of it is stuff I wouldn't want to talk about on the show. Like a lot of it's personal stuff. But like we talk, like we'll go on and on and on for hours, and like some of the stuff we talk about, like I feel really sad that we didn't capture, you know. But like, I mean, I'm just glad to have had the conversation.
Oh, me too. And we're both people who are constantly like trying to expand our boundaries and learn new things, and we're constantly thinking. So we're never
self-assessing all the time.
Yeah, and like we do so much in our own heads where we're never gonna run out of things to talk about because we would have already.
Exactly.
Like this podcast is an example of this. Like we had an idea.
There was no
of a
plan
topic,
for this podcast other than discussing what is corrupting your kids.
And it took us an hour to get here.
Yeah, and we came up with that concept like right before starting the recording. Like, because I just thought, like, we have these moments so often where we just like we smoke and then immediately launch into hours of conversation. We've done it several times today, and I just thought like that's not hard to manufacture. Like,
oh no,
all we really need is some soothing music to take the edge off.
It's great practice for me too. I love doing stuff like this, like getting a chance to be on camera and podcast just about whatever like this teaches me a skill that is extremely valuable to what I want to do. I want to be a good podcaster because there are no female anime YouTube podcasters who like are active.
Yeah, and
are
like,
and
popular.
Good and good. Like, sorry.
But like this, and I want.
Well, that's not entirely true. I'm just saying there's like an extreme lack, and you know.
I want people to know that like the reason I chose to like play this vaporwave compilation in the background.
That's not true at all. I love Mirage. I love Pedro.
Yeah.
You guys are great. You guys are great podcasters. Like I said that, and I was like thinking of like different people.
Yeah.
And like I just want you guys to know, like.
Yeah.
I'm like not throwing shade at you. Like I really like. I would fucking love to be on Neo-Taku, like.
The Neo-Taku.
Yeah, I'd fucking love to be on that show, but I want to wait until I put out some anime content that's like attributed to me only, because it is true that I've been in a ton of anime videos. Like, I have a playlist of all the YouTube videos I've been in, and like if you count up the hours of that, that's like days. There's like days of me talking about anime online, and like I feel like there are a lot of people who are established YouTubers who haven't even been on in podcasts that much. So like if you need me to show you my portfolio before I like say Pantsy Party can be on a podcast, if you need some proof, you have the proof right here. The proof is in the pudding, you know? If you're not biting on this, if you think I'm shit, then like whatever. But if you're interested at all,
this is a great plug for yourself for podcasting.
Please just be like, May, I want you to talk about fucking like skull fucking on this like weird podcast, please.
If I ran a podcast and I heard you describing my podcast that way and your desire to be on, I would be emailing you right now. So
Because I love listening to you be on podcasts, and I think it'd be so much fun to have like my own podcasting friends.
Yeah.
And I really want to like make friends in the anime YouTube community.
Right.
Like that's who I'm looking at, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like where the new fans are gonna come from. It's not gonna come from PCP fans. Like the PCP fans already know about who I am. They're already subscribed. If they were gonna be subscribed, they already did. You know, I need to work on a different audience.
Right.
It's
a great strategy. I'm excited about all the possibilities of what
I'm excited about all the
happen.
Possibilities with you too.
Yeah.
You have a lot of exciting ideas that I like can't
I do.
wait to
I have a
see.
lot of like irons in the fire ideas wise, and like a lot of it is just like real ambitious, and it's hard to take it all on at once. And I kind of like, I won't say I slack so much as like I'm real interested in testing ideas on like other forms of content than just like I simultaneously want to start building like bigger, better main channel videos, but like I also want to work on making the smaller offshoot shit more interesting.
Yeah.
And like the way I saw it, like Finish or Fail is a great show for just like offering short reviewy opinions about stuff, but like it doesn't really allow me to go into that much depth about most things. And like because I have to remember shit, like I have to pay enough attention to a show to like remember everything that goes on. Which is
hard if a show's
like,
particularly mind-numbing.
And with the randomly watched seasonal bullshit show, like we can watch a real bad show and like instead of me having to
recall
try to
the
pay
bad
attention
show,
and remember everything,
yeah.
I can just describe the bad shit as it comes up.
And you can
I can
see
go,
it with us
that looks
too.
bad and here's why. This character is obnoxious and here's why. Like, and then people like get it a lot more easily, you know? Like we get a lot fewer comments like, I don't get how you didn't like blah blah blah, and I'm like, you know, you saw me not liking it. You saw the process of what happened.
I think there's a market for anime commentary. I think there's people who want content like this and who are sick of analytical content, because when you see commentary, you can like see the narrative unfolding. You can see the show go to shit if it's a bad show. And I think that that's like a really interesting way to kind of take
and
on
the only way it works
content.
for watching like something you haven't seen before is to just be that insanely fast. And like I am that insanely fast. Like that is something I can say as a bragging right, is like I can analyze a show in real time. I can easily do that because I've built up that skill. And like in my opinion, that's an even more impressive skill than being able to like write a script.
Oh, I think so too.
The fact that I can just break it down on the spot and immediately tell you what's good or bad, and that's easier for me because it'll cause me to pay more attention.
Yeah.
Because like I'll be trying to call things out, so I'll be like noticing. Now, granted, sometimes I talk over a detail if I'm like really going on a tangent because I think the show is shit and I don't care about paying attention to it.
It's never gonna be like perfect.
If we're watching a good show, I will shut my fucking mouth, you know, because I want to see what's going on. But like if we're watching some trash, like I can't fucking pay my full undivided attention to it, you know?
Yeah.
So like you'd be better off getting me rant over it than you would be getting me like talking about it afterwards and trying my damnedest to remember what the fuck I just watched, you know? So like I really like the format. The only problem is that like it is so fucking retardedly hard to like watch along to stuff.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely a fun gimmick to kind of play around with, but like we can't have gimmick videos.
I think look, the thing is though, like that kind of video might be better served off of YouTube, where we could just put the fucking footage of the show.
Yeah.
Like, if that DTube site takes off, which we're not even going to get into that, but, like, because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, it's, like, just something we're curious about is, like, cryptocurrency and how we can, like, get revenue from other sources, you know.
Yeah, well, there's this new site that like pays you in cryptocurrency, but it pays way better than YouTube.
Yeah, and a lot of like big YouTubers are already jumping over and like
or like just setting up test accounts, you know. So like
it's exciting.
I'm like tempted to set up a test account just to see what it's like, because like that's why I liked that's why I liked, what was it called, VidMe, because like VidMe, while short-lived and like it didn't have like an amazing infrastructure. Like the actual infrastructure of uploading stuff and like doing descriptions and stuff was shit on VidMe. Like the videos just didn't have enough options the way that YouTube does. But DTube, like they have put in all the YouTube options and they're trying to like enhance the amount you get paid, and like it's a real attractive look, but like it's also total anarchy on there, like what's posted.
Yeah.
Like it's just madness, like constant breaking of there's no copyright guidelines at all right now, which might have to change one day, but like I want to know, could we upload randomly watch seasonal bullshit with just fucking full screen anime footage and like get away with it? And like,
you might be able to for like long enough where you could.
Would even anime fans be okay with it? Like, would they really be pissed off at me for like using so much of the source material?
No way.
And like profiting from it.
I'm sure certain people will.
Because I make more than like an anime director does to comment on anime. You know.
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely some people who have no respect for that.
I feel like even the ways that you can pay for anime aren't like gonna help that situation.
Yeah.
Like they need to make fundamental changes in the anime industry to really like get these people paid the amount they need to be paid and to have like good shit coming out.
Yeah.
What was that message we just saw?
That was just telling you that it was cutting the clip.
Oh boy.
So like there's probably like 20 seconds of no visuals or so.
Dope.
But, you know.
We should definitely make a MP3 of this because I feel like people will consume this similar to how Decompression Chamber was.
Yes, although the music will sound a lot shittier because it's just being played out of speakers behind us. But hopefully it sounds alright enough to be passable and it's not like a horribly obnoxious audio clusterfuck. I just really wanted us to be able to chill because, like, an important part of the way that we have our long conversations is, like, I don't sit still when I talk in real life. No. This is something very... Okay, my vlogs will never be like what I actually talk like in real life, except for the Bathos vlog, because the 360 camera theoretically is perfect for my vlogging setup.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that if the 360 camera was able to have consistent audio... And it wasn't so weird when you walk away from the camera, because, like, the way that the perspective, like, shifts when you walk away is fucking bizarre. But, like, if 360 camera just made a little bit more sense, then it would be the perfect way for my vlogs, because I pace around fucking constantly when I talk.
You pace, like, a maniacal pacing. Like,
yeah.
You're, like...
I, like, wring my hands and, like, pace around and, like, talk for... Like, I literally will walk back and forth, or I'll just stand in the corner.
You become, like, a Socrates-like character when you try to, like, talk. And you get real jaded if somebody tries, like...
I don't like to be interrupted.
No, like, and I, like, am kind of bad about interrupting.
Well,
because, like, I get talked over all the time, and I'm fucking sick of it, like, from being a kid.
Uh-huh.
Like, I, like... Just, like, talk louder. Like you're gonna listen to me.
Oh, no, I don't mind when you interrupt me with talking. It's when you're, like, distracted by your phone that I'll really lay into
and
you,
I mean,
usually.
I've hid my phone sometimes. Sometimes I'll just throw my phone on the other side of the room.
I don't mind. Like, if somebody would rather... Like, if you don't want to hear me talk anymore and you want to be on your phone... No, it's not that.
It's literally because I'm obsessed with, like, monitoring social media
But, like,
constantly.
I hate when I realize that I have been talking and someone hasn't been understanding what I'm saying. No, and my dad is because my dad... If you have more than 5 seconds of break in what you're saying to him, he will get his phone out and start reading texts.
I mean, you, like, have a reason to be legitimately annoyed, like, because there was a point where I was, like, checking my phone constantly while you were trying to tell me something, and it was because I had a problem.
Uh-huh.
It's because, like, I'm addicted to my phone. Because I'm a 23-year-old, like every 23-year-old, like, he's a little bit older, like, than me, but, like, phone...
I didn't get a phone till
like,
mad
I
late.
feel like my cell phone is, like, a part of my body, and I feel uncomfortable when I'm not with it. And, like, if I post something on Twitter, I'm gonna go back on Twitter, like, every 5 minutes and see who's liked my shit. Yeah. You know, and, like, that's not a healthy way to be. But, like, just the way social media is constructed kind of, like, makes people that way, and, like... So, like, I've just, like, been throwing my phone on the floor as, like, I need to, like, not have it in my hands. Especially in big recordings and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, like... You may have noticed I don't keep my phone anywhere fucking near me at all.
I can't multitask like that, especially with social media, because, like, it takes a lot more attention than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
Because, like, you have to, like, actually be... paying critical attention to what you're reading.
The reason I'm so, like, the reason I get on people, like, especially my dad, is because my dad, if he's, like, even, like, just not quite looking at you, he won't pick up what you're saying. Like, he's very easily distracted. And, like, if he gets distracted, he will forget, like, he won't snap back and ask you, like, what were you saying a lot of the times. He's just gone. You've just lost him. So sometimes if I see him checking his phone, I'll give up and leave the room, like, straight up. You know, I just won't finish whatever I was trying to say, because, like, unless it's important and I need his attention, but I probably don't, you know? So, like, So like,
oh my god, this
I
music
tend
is
to-
like freaking me out. Like there's like some weird, like they have like weird bell sounds, and I'm like, what the fuck am I hearing?
Victor also would constantly fucking cut me off with his phone because if Hope sends him a text, he
Oh,
will
yeah.
not. He
Yeah.
does not care what you're saying anymore.
Because I get that. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand like why you'd feel that way about when a specific person like messages you, because like that person matters way more, and you wanna show that you give that person all your attention. But
Exactly.
like, it's real hard to talk to people like that, because it's like, dude, I'm trying to
Fucking
have a
when Ben
conversation
and Jackie
with you.
first started dating, they would do that while we were working out.
Yeah.
Fucking every time I'd have to wait for Ben to change the weights because he'd be sitting there texting her for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, Ben, like, you're making the gym insufferable by doing this.
Yeah.
But it's like, I get it, you know.
I mean,
but-
I used to be a person like that, but like after being in so many relationships and just seeing like how destructive it is to constantly text somebody like that, it's like you gotta let that person breathe. Like if you're not there with them, you can't give them the attention they need. So just let that person like have fun, have friends. Like the best thing to do is just call them once a day. You don't have to text them all day. Just like give them a phone call and be like, hey baby.
Yeah.
That's like how you do
that was what
a
we
long distance.
when we for the like we only had to be long distance for a short period of time because we like after we actually started dating, you know.
Because we were sure that like we didn't want this to be long distance, and like
Right.
we were together with the intentions of us like moving together soon.
Yeah, so like we got together under that pretense, and like so there was only like first a 3-week period and then like a week and a half long period of like us being apart before we
Yeah.
moved in together.
But
and,
we
like,
were not texting each other constantly.
right.
Like,
It was really like we would maybe like have a call every day or two,
yeah, and
depending
I'd
on
send
how
you,
much
like,
work I had to do.
I'd send you pictures. So you
yeah,
like,
we sent like hella Snapchats,
yeah,
but like that's
it. Like,
about
we
it.
didn't like text each other.
Yeah. We were just like we'd call for maybe like 45 minutes and like but it was really good because we always had something to talk about. Like
'cause
something had to be going on.
I valued that
you know?
time I spent on the phone with you so much more than I would have just like sending you a text.
Right.
Because that's not time you value. That's like time you're taking
Yeah.
away from what you're doing to like to message somebody. And like I like texting's great, but it can be really destructive to relationships because like you can
Right.
get real obsessive and real into it. And like, you know, some people can manage that real well. And I'm not saying it's bad, but like I don't like that.
I'm really glad you were at a stage in your life to have recognized that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've become like if we had started dating like 3 years ago, we probably would have texted all the time because you would have been really into that and I would have
Yeah.
played along with it because I think like I'm very eager to just like please in ways like that. Like it's
Yeah.
not hard for me to do that. For me to
No,
like
it's a
text all
really,
the time.
I mean, that's why people do it, because it's like a really easy way to show that
Right.
person that like you're dedicated and in love with them if
Right.
you're constantly texting them. But like, it's not necessarily the most healthy way
Yeah.
to show it.
And to me, there's something like because the problem is that I think it's a trust issue if you're doing that.
Yeah, I
like
do
it means
too.
that you don't trust the other person enough that like the stuff they're doing in their off time, they're not going to tell you
Okay,
about.
I have a
it,
story
you know?
about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was in college, me and my boyfriend at the time, my high school sweetheart, we went to different schools and they were like 3 miles away. And he was like really resistant to me going out to parties. And
Yeah.
like, he like expected me to text him back like that within that hour. And like, I had just been really used to that. And like, I didn't think twice about it because it's something really easy to do. But he was doing that because like, he wanted constant reassurance.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting what I needed out of the relationship, which is just like him to be there
Yeah.
to like sexually satisfy me.
Yeah.
Because like that's something that like I value and put a lot of emphasis on, and like that's really important in a relationship. But I went out to a party once and I didn't text him for like, it was my first like party in college, and it was like Halloween. Like I didn't go out, I didn't really drink or anything. Like I wasn't a party animal. This is
Right.
like, I was like a straight A student. I went out once and he flipped out on me and was like, I can't believe he went to a party, even though he went to parties.
Yeah. What a
And, like,
fucking asshole.
I just realized that like you would only need to do this if you were insecure, and like this isn't healthy, and like I need a partner who can respect that when I am at a social function that like I need to put my full attention in the social function, or else I'm gonna end up hating being there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be miserable. Like, if you're on your phone the whole time, you're not gonna have a good time at a party.
Yeah.
Like, you need to put your phone away. Like, you're just gonna be fucking, like,
right.
That's just, like, a real pro tip. Like, if you're in college and you don't like going to parties, like, put your fucking phone away. Like,
yeah.
Like, look for conversations, look for people who are interesting. Like, I make a lot of friends by talking to people who are, like, alone and isolated, or, like, who look interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I will approach scary-looking people and just, like, what's your deal?
Yeah.
And, like, I learned a whole lot by just, like, approaching people who I felt comfortable with approaching. Like, I don't have to talk to, like, the hot girls, you know, but, like, if I see, like, this, like, guy who, like, you know, looks a little depressed, I might be like, oh, hey, what's your deal? Like, you want to have, like, a thoughtful conversation with me? Because, like, I'm not digging fucking the music in this place. I'm not, you know, let's step outside and fucking smoke a blunt, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I, like, that's what I like about parties. Is, like, having, like, really intimate conversations with people and just, like, what's your life story, dude? Like, here, you're drunk. Like, tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why, like, because I've literally never been to, like, a real party, like, that wasn't thrown by my parents or their friends, like, of my peers.
I mean,
but, like, my friends and I would throw parties where it's just, like, 9 of my friends all the time.
Yeah.
Because we would just get drunk and have long conversations and shit, you know? And, like, whoever... Like, at first it would just be, like, gaming and beer until half of everyone's either passed out or left. And then, like, whoever's left, you get to have, like, the enriching experience of drunk conversations deep into the night.
those parties can be really fun, but, like, when you start to, like, not like your friends anymore, it's, like, real insufferable. And I was starting to outgrow my friends, and, like, I love going to parties with strangers.
Yeah.
Like, it's exciting for me to, like, go out and see new people. And once I was, like, in Greek life, that, like, the mystery of, like, meeting new people, like, disappeared. Because I'm like, oh, all these people are, like, fucking just like me. And, like, they need to have a group to, like... You know, like, I relate to these people now because I'm one of them. And, like... I know everybody in Greek life now, and it's not like I'm gonna meet cool people anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I've met all the cool people at Oswego. I can leave.
Yeah.
That's basically how I felt. Like, I'm not fucking gonna do anything at this degree. Like, I'm obviously not meant to succeed, like, with a PR degree.
Yeah.
Like, I've learned that. It's a hard lesson to learn because, like, it's something I'm passionate about, but, like, I really, like... All the times I fucked up in school is because, like, group projects, like, just fucked me over. And, like, maybe I just am not meant to work
in a group.
In like, a PR agency, you know?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should just work for myself and build my... Like, do my own shit. Because, like, when I'm running my shit, it's good.
Yeah.
As soon as other people get involved, it's like, well, you know, this is shit now.
Right.
And I guess that's because, like...
You don't know how to communicate with them and make them good.
I guess I'm like, a stuck-up asshole.
Okay, let me tell you some stories about my high school career.
Yeah?
All right. So, I was always the guy who... My stance on group projects was basically this. Either I have full creative control and we're just going to do what I say, or I do not give a single fuck.
I'm the same
and
way.
I am leaving the group.
Oh my god.
And, like... I've literally, for most of the group projects I was doing in high school, I would just find a way out of my group. Like, I would just find a way to let the teacher not make me a part of that group, or I would, like... The one time I had, like, a group that worked, it was because in my, my fucking government class in 12th grade, like, my friend Mike was in the class, and since Mike, who is, like... was creatively incompetent, but, like, capable of being in my videos, because we were friends, you know? So, like, when we got teamed up on an assignment, I just, like, wrote, scripted, edited, did everything, and then just had him appear in my video playing guitar as, like, his contribution. Like, he says a couple of lines,
you know? Cool.
And that was our, like, group project.
And I feel like there's a lot of...
But wait, there was one before that. Like, the first ever group project video I did, because there's a bunch of videos on the Modal Soul production channel of, like, videos I made for school, like the FDR the freaking dude Roosevelt video. But one that I don't think is still up is called Uranium Nuclear Lullaby, and that was the first one I made.
That's so metal.
And it was for we were in like a science class where each group was like assigned an element and they had to do a presentation on it. Well, my group was 3 like real normie girls who were not interested in this assignment really at all at first, right? And like all they wanted to do was a fucking like fold out poster board thing, and like no one had any other ideas. And I was like, well, like if I tried to do a video I couldn't have all these people in it, but like if I just split off and do my own thing, then I can go make like a totally other project. And the thing is, like, I didn't like exactly tell the teacher I was doing this. I just straight up on the day of the presentation, they went up and did their uranium presentation, and then I went up and did my uranium presentation. Like, I just was like, yeah, I did my own. You know, like, that's what I told the teacher. And, like, mine, she loved my video. Like, that saved me from failing that class.
Oh, my God.
Like, I would have gotten, like, a D- or something.
You really, like, saved your own ass that way.
Yeah. And it was, like, a totally half-assed video.
Yeah,
like, I even say in it, I learned, at the very end, I say, I learned everything I know from Wikipedia. Like, really quick, you know? Like, just to make, and that was just me making fun of the assignment.
Yeah.
Like, proving that I could do a better job than everybody else, without trying, just because I'm an asshole, you know? And I like to rub it in teachers' faces.
Your teacher was kind of like, oh, fuck,
I'm above the level of, like, what else is in their class, you know? But, like, yeah, that inspired me to do the same thing the next year, but I did not get nearly as good of grades because the other teacher was not as humored by. Well, and also the freaking dude Roosevelt was set to like this insane blast beat, and the audio was really bad, and like
oh boy,
it was really under researched.
I have like a whole rant brewing about like group projects, especially in college, and just why they're a terrible idea and like why they just set up failure.
Oh yeah.
And it's because like most people by the time they're adults are introverts. And, like, most people will not have to work in group situations that colleges create. And in order to, like, orchestrate any kind of group project involves all of the group members who are all adults who have busy schedules. Like, if you're going back to school and you work a job and you're going back part-time, how are you supposed to fit in group projects?
You know, I think there's a way to assign group projects correctly. And
there definitely is, but I feel like
I know what it is.
Done wrong most of the time.
I think you need to have them like work under a unifying principle, like as opposed to just being like, here's the assignment, like make a video, do whatever you want. Like that means that everyone's just like free to have infinite ideas, but no one really has an idea. Like you have to like force yourself to come up with an idea, and no one really gives a fuck about the assignment.
That was like that one video assignment I had to do last semester that ended up like me just not caring about the class. Was that one kid wanted to do fucking Filthy Frank and was like real gung-ho about it.
Yeah.
And like nobody was able to like step in and say like no, because like I was on board. I was just happy that somebody was writing the script because I wasn't interested in writing the script.
I read that script though, and there was no way it could have been filmed.
You know,
there's no possible way. And the video that came out instead was much better.
I had a vision of how it could have worked. Like there were certain scenes that I could like picture like being done, especially like there was like a scene he wrote with the car, and I'm like, if you
you had a really inventive idea about how to make that shot.
So I thought like there was a way we could like do what he was trying to say, and you know I thought he's like I appreciate his sense of humor, and I appreciate the kind of person that guy was. Where I was like, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
Like you guys obviously, you guys are all normies. Like I'd rather do this Filthy Frank video, TBH. Yeah. But and that kid ended up just like not contributing to the group at all, and we were just screwed and had to make a new project. And like nobody in the group like wanted to be a part of the group or cared about the class.
Right.
So I was like getting real fed up of like having to do all the homework assignments and stuff, and it's just like, why is the group set up this way? Like, why is my success in the class dependent on how my group does? Like, I get it for, like, the video project, but why are we doing more things within the group?
And if this is what the future is going to have to be for this job, then I don't want to do this job.
This isn't how businesses set up groups. You know, like, a team leader will pick people specifically to be on his team for reasons. Like, he will justify why he picks those people. I am so
fucking picky about podcasts. Like, this is why I, like... I mean,
if you randomly fucking throw people into a group together, most of them are not going to work well together.
Real talk. this is why the Weebcast is fucking terrible. I'm sorry if Jeff, if you happen to hear this or catch wind of this.
Hey, this needs to be fucking said.
Is fucking terrible after I stopped being the host of it because of the combinations of people that are brought on who generally don't really know each other and have no chemistry together. When you bring on Gigguk and the Anime Man, neither of whom is really a friend of yours, or you really have... I mean, this is where my stupid Gigguk, I don't respect his content quote came from me making this point.
Literally a perfect example of this is, like, the Devilman Crybaby podcast they did together that, like, isn't advertised at all. Like, I was trying to listen to this video while I was, like, on the elliptical or the treadmill, because, like, I always listen to podcasts that way. And I was, like, curious to see what, like, these big Anitubers had to say about the show. But it was, like, real... First of all, it took me, like, 5 minutes to find this podcast. And then it was, like, real disappointing. Like, nobody was on the same level. Like, I feel like there was, like, no preparation, like... There were people who read the manga, people who didn't read the manga, people who, like, didn't understand, like, it was a real bad podcast.
I want to be perfectly clear that, like, when
it made me upset.
I started the Weebcast, it was, like, there was a lot of specific, like, reasonings and guidelines. It was, like, this Mother's Basement guy is, like, real analytical like me, and so is Nate, and Nate loves doing podcasts and is super punctual and will definitely be on time. And then, like, Subsonic Sparkle and Nino were both people kind of similar to my style. So, like, Jeff was a little bit more of an outsider to my content than the other guys were, but, like, we could all communicate with each other pretty well, and I felt like it made sense for this group to exist, kind of. Mm-hmm. Although there were, like, definitely, like, differences in our sensibilities. Like, I always thought that Jeff, like, was too long-winded about stuff that didn't matter, and, like, we would sometimes, like, I would have to, like, cut
a lot of my
sections of his
about
dialogue.
Jeff are just like he needs to work on his podcasting skills. Like, I feel like if he worked on it a whole lot, there's a lot of potential for really interesting things for it to come out of it. Like, I feel like I need to kind of defend my position on that podcast real quick in case anybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I really would have liked to see a Devilman Crybaby podcast, because that anime was, like, very experimental, and there was, like, a lot of interesting statements that just, like, how the anime was released itself that was interesting. And, like Go Nagai is a fucking genius, and fucking...
Me and Econ should have done a Devilman Crybaby podcast.
But I mean, like...
Instead of me even making a video about it.
I think that
Econ had so much to say about it that was interesting.
You should do it. You should still do it. The show is still relevant.
We could.
I mean, I know he hasn't
written... Because Econ's trying to write a video about it,
but like, I feel like you should hit him up, because I'd be really interested in something like that.
I'd probably have to watch the show again, though, because, like, when I watched it the first time was in a very, like, we were real high and we were super hype, because I'm way into, like, the idea of Devilman.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, in retrospect,
if you're gonna be in a debate with Econ, you definitely want to, like,
reread the manga,
review your, like... You want to
This is why I haven't done a podcast with Econ.
This is why a podcast would be great.
Much, you know?
It'd be because you'd both be on the same page about how deep into the source material you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like that podcast could have been great, Jeff. Like, that could have been a really interesting and popular podcast. It just wasn't marketed right, and, like...
Why this combination of people?
Like, this combination of people is interesting because it's people who have, like, a lot of voice and a lot of, like, followers in the anime community, but there are, like, different people you could have selected, or maybe it could have been...
I think they should have picked a stance, at least. Like, if they're gonna do a podcast with all three of them, they need to know what do you guys know about the show. Like, when I did the Weebcast, part of it was that we had a chat room, like, where everyone was for the whole, like I would create this chat at the start of the season, and we'd all get in there, and then, like, you know, we'd be talking for 14, 15 days, and, like, my principle was, like, the seasonal Weebcast has to come out, like, right after the last show airs, and, like, if the very last show is something totally unimportant, we won't even bother with it, like, but, like, you know, we want to get it out right after the last show airs because, like, by the time you talk about certain shows, they already have 2 or 3 episodes out. And, like, we don't want to have to keep adding on episodes if we keep past, like, because if you push it back 2 more days and now
also,
episode 4 of this show's out, now you got to watch episode 4.
People are searching for seasonal, like, which seasonal anime they should follow while they're airing.
Exactly.
So people are, like, very, like, I know I am, at least. Yeah. Like, this is just from personal experience. When I watch seasonal anime, I want to know who's watching what, you know, what shows people are talking about and seem interesting before I, like, invest time into a show. Because, like, I have limited time, and, like, I enjoy listening to people podcast, too.
This is also why, like, Finish or Fail has always skipped around what seasons I'm covering. And, like, people always get bothered when they're like, why'd you start doing Finish or Fail for, like, the you know, summer season when you didn't even cover the spring season yet? And I'm like, because the summer season just ended, and I happen to have the opportunity that I'm very available right now to have a show about seasonal anime.
Yeah.
And when the shows have all just ended, much like when they've just began, is when you get the second rush of people, like, wanting to know which shows ended good. Because a lot of people won't watch shit till it's over.
Okay, so I'm going to give a shout out to, like, kind of a small podcast. I don't even know how active these people are, but on SoundCloud, there's this show called The Lucky Cast, and how they do it is each season they have, like, halfway through seasons, they give, like, their opinions on which shows they think you should be watching.
Yeah.
And then when the season ends, they give, like, these are the shows that we said we were watching, this is our reviews on it. And at the very end of the year, they do, like, a podcast where they talk about just which the best shows of the year. Yeah. And kind of the weakness of the show is it's not that, like, timely. Yeah. If it came out, like, right, like, after the 3rd episodes of all the shows were out, like, people would be like, oh yeah, let's click on this. And just because, like, it's on SoundCloud and isn't promoted that well. But, like, the hosts on it are real funny, you know? I think we'll have to, like, put it, like, link to their SoundCloud channel.
Okay, I've never heard of this thing that you're talking about.
Because, like, I just think it's fascinating because, like, I watched that show when the Weebcast ended because I needed something to supplement the Weebcast.
And because, like...
And, like, there's like, so few content like that.
The times that I was on Jeff's show, it was just so, like, loose and last minute. And, like, every time he invites me on, it's, like, the day before an episode. Mm-hmm. And he's like, do you want to be on this 4 fucking hour podcast?
That's so, like, not that has,
good. Like, and it has, like, an extensive Q&A section at the end, even though you don't know who's going to be on the episodes when you're asking the questions necessarily, you know? So, like, I don't know. There's a lot that I feel like I put way more thought into how I ran the thing. Like, when I gave it to Jeff, it was just because I didn't want to do the seasonal thing anymore, and I knew that the audience still wanted it. And basically, like, I didn't even care if he did it. I didn't think he was going to do, like, as good a job as I did. I just thought that the audience wouldn't ask about it as long as I, like, left it in somebody's hands.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, okay, well, at least I still exist. At least
somebody's, like,
you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I just didn't want to do it anymore. But, like... I kind of did, like, and I don't really care about the name Weebcast that much, though I do, like, think it's funny that as soon as I gave it to him, he, like, branded it, and I was kind of like,
it's a good name. It's, like, it's catchy.
Yeah, I came up with it. Like, it's my name, like, and I just, like, kind of gave it to him, and then he turned it into a brand, and, like, I was surprised that he did that. I didn't expect him to make it a weekly podcast.
A lot of interesting things have come out of the Weebcast's existence, and, like, I think it's, you know, it's a real interesting show. Like, the one of all the AniTubers drama, like, I haven't watched that one, but, like, that's a video that, like, exists for a reason, you know?
Oh, yeah. It came out...
It definitely says a whole lot about this community.
Absolute clusterfuck,
you know?
And
I think it's real interesting that, like, Jeff is at the center of it.
Yeah.
I also think it's really interesting that he did that AMA. Like, I was really curious to check up on it while it was going on, and, like, if I had questions, I was going to ask him, because, like, I used to be a real big Mother's Basement fan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't keep up with this stuff anymore, but, like, I, like, have asked him, like, weird questions before. Like, but he was, like, baby's first AniTuber.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like he is for a lot of people.
I mean, that's what I called Gigguk at fucking Crunchyroll Expo.
Yeah. I feel like just Gigguk didn't appeal to me enough, because, like, I'm more analytically minded.
Yeah, too woke.
Yeah. Like, but, I appreciate, like, great writing.
Right. So, like, So to get back to the subject of what is corrupting your kids, since we haven't finished talking about that
and it's an
yet.
hour and a half into the
like
smile. My bad.
This channel, like, because we're kind of set in like what we're trying to do on our main channels, this channel is just experimentation with like the different ways that we naturally communicate. Like the randomly watching stuff is like how we would go about watching shows together before recording a Finish or Fail, and like it makes more sense to capture our raw reactions. And like us watching YouTube videos together and discussing it is like the same kind of content that we would just like, literally it's just what we would be doing. Like, and so I'm kind of trying to make this channel like to show people like this is why we, first of all, why we like each other so much. Like, why would like, I feel like when I did Finish or Fail, everything you ever said on the show I always liked. Like, I liked the stuff you would bring up, but you talked less than me,
The problem with, like, me being able to contribute as much to that show as you do is that show is formulated directly in how you consume and how you review things. And, like, this is something that you've practiced. Where I am someone who, like, is kind of self-conscious, and, like, at first I'm not comfortable really being on camera this way. Like, I, like, wasn't wearing makeup in a lot of those videos and stuff, and, like, that made me, like, really push my comfort zone a whole lot. But, like, being able to speak off the cuff like that after a show that you, like, were watching, but you really weren't sure if you got the whole point because, like, you watched it one time. You know, and now you have to, like, make a big statement about it. You have to say something even if the show wasn't, like, that interesting.
I've also gotten better at, like, I understand different ways I can protect you from, like, spoiling your opinions. And here's what I mean. When we watch stuff together, we will often discuss it, and you will come up with some crazy shit that sounds great, but you do not tend to repeat yourself when you're on camera. Like, you don't tend to remember the shit you've said, but I do. And so, like, there was a lot of times on those podcasts where, like, I would just bring up the thing that you had said because, like, I'm trying to lead you into it, but, like, you don't remember.
And the solution for that is to just have a notebook on me while I'm watching shows.
And to not talk about it. Like, when we did the Mary and the Witch's Flower podcast, which was, like, really the first one where you spoke, like, hell of a lot, like, even more than me.
I wanted to record that right away because I had a ton of thoughts. But, like, if I don't have the chance to do it right away, like, if you're doing a Finish or Fail show, like, you have to watch several episodes. And, like, there's a lot of time.
I just want to let the audience know that, like, I went out of my way to not share any of my opinions about that movie until we started recording. Like, I was being weird about it, and I knew you could tell.
I really wanted to, like, talk about the movie, and, like, you were just like, shut up.
We left the theater, and, like, you were like, oh, that was, like, I really liked it a whole lot and all this, and I was like, oh, really? Well, that's gonna make our podcast real interesting, because I didn't really like it that much. And then I just, like, shut up about it for the rest of the drive home. Like, 15, 20 minutes while we set up.
It was definitely, like, I was really excited to talk about that.
But, like, I was doing that because I didn't want you to tell me a bunch of shit that, like, was gonna, like, possibly affect my opinion before I got to share my views. And then we would just agree with each other. And then I would just start parroting things you had already said. You know, like,
I mean, that's what happens when we discuss things, because we focus on different aspects of the show, but, like, we kind of combine.
And this is also why, like, before we recorded this, you were telling me, like, you were uncomfortable with the idea that I had no topics going in. And I said, like, well, we'll talk about, like, or we came up with the idea of, like, we'll talk about what the hell is corrupting your kids. Very simple topic. Like, it's just one phrase. But, like, I just wanted to give you a line because I knew we could just ramble for an hour and it would be fine. But, like, this was my strategy, was, like, I'll lure her in. But, like, I didn't want to discuss topics because I didn't want us to talk about our points before the show. You know, like, I didn't want to constrain what we were able to talk about. Because when I walk into a podcast with a checklist, those podcasts end up being 7 hours long, you know? Because, like, every item on that checklist is going to go for way longer than I think it is, you know?
Like, that shit's getting too long. I feel like this is getting close to too long. Like, I don't want this to be more than 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I just wanted us to have, like... The thing about this channel right now, and the reason we are doing this particular podcast, aside from the fact that I was inspired just by our conversations that we were having, like, the reason I wanted to expedite this and do it immediately is that the Corrupting Your Kids channel has so far been, like, all really experimental stuff. Like, we have the randomly watching show, which, like, because of the rules of YouTube, we've had to make really obtuse and, like,
it's, like,
difficult to watch.
It's, like, a real
And the fact that it gets the views that it
thing.
does is, like, incredible.
It's perfect for, like, what you have to do, though, to grind your channel out, to, like, get, like, be able to have monetary
pure coincidence, because we didn't even know about the fucking watch time thing until we made the channel, and it was, like, perfect for the grinding 4,000 hours.
Like, partnership guidelines require channels to have 1,000 subscribers and 40,000...
No, 4,000 watch
It's 4,000?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 4,000 watch hours, which is a lot if you're, like, putting out short videos.
Right.
But if you're putting out long videos that, like, are time sensitive but, like, are getting a lot of clicks right now, it's genius, because, like, we were able to just, like, okay, our channel can be monetized now.
Yeah.
It says our channel's not eligible for monetization.
We're not quite there yet.
Okay. Yeah, we're still, like, we're still a little short on the hours.
This video or the other one we recorded will put us over, I think.
So. I think so, too. We only need, like, 500.
This video is so bright that it's making us, like, in the dark.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, it's late as shit, so this is a appropriate, amount of darkness for us to be shaded by. But yeah, so, like, because all the content on this channel is kind of weird, the Mary and the Witch's Flower review is, like, a very standard review, but of a movie that's not widely available yet. We did the Ota Cave, which is only, like, I think that video has longevity, but it's only inaccessible insofar as it's not a relevant topic at all. Like, no one's really talking about Perfect Blue
really
and
fun, and people just,
like, Metal Idol right now.
People just liked it. Like, it was a good way to be like, this is the second episode.
Yeah, everybody who watched it enjoyed it, but, like, it's not a super attractive, like, series to launch right now, like, compared to the randomly watching shit.
Because that show can be real great, but, like, it's not there yet.
But basically, I just wanted there to be, like, something that's completely straightforward and normal on this channel, where, like, you don't have to do any weird gimmicks, you don't have to watch any prerequisites. There's, like, all you need to do is click on this video and you have a podcast, and it's just, like, I wanted also there to be, like, a raw expression of just our personalities on this channel and not us reacting to art.
Because I feel like this is kind of where I present my personality.
Yeah.
Because, like, my channel is going to be, like, a little bit more, you know, camera friendly.
And we've been wanting to get back, like, I had been planning to introduce Let's Plays on this channel, but I don't want to bring back chapter by chapter Let's Plays. Like, I don't want to do episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all 2 hours long, because the gameplay... I think the audience is for like watching people play games and listening to the kinds of podcasting we do are just not that the same. Like, the people who watch DigiBros watch it because they like the podcasting. Very few of them care about the game. Like, that crossover fan base is really small. And so, like, if we just take away that abstraction of, like, oh, there's a video game involved, like, I think more people will listen to us just podcast for 3 hours, you know?
I think so, too. I think this is way more, like...
Yeah, and, like, you know, I don't want to be committed to any, like, long-term shows. And, like, if for those who are following Digi and May, you know that, like, the way we were recording them was not normal. It was not, like, a straight-up, we record all the playtime. Like, I was going back and playing through the games, and we weren't recording the endings. Like, it was, like, not really a normal Let's Play show at all. And really, it was just, like...
if you were trying to pay attention to, like, the story of, like, how we're playing this game, you know...
No, it's
you're
really
not
bad.
You're not really gonna get what you're coming for.
And I think it's just that, like, we didn't have enough comfort with, like, being together in a podcast yet to do it without a video game there to be our, like, third wheel. But, like, now that we can do stuff like this, it's like... why even bother incorporating the game? And not to say that I don't want to ever do Let's Plays again, but I'd rather do, like, thematic Let's Plays or, like, gimmick ones.
Because, like, I think those are more interesting.
Like a drinking game Let's Play where we play Mario Kart.
For me to listen to or, like, watch a Let's Play, there has to be a reason to, like, care about the games.
Yeah.
Like, I was only really watching your Let's Plays at that time because I just was interested in your personality. But, like, the Let's Players that I have followed, it's always been because they're, like, gimmicky or, like, they do something unique.
Right.
And, like, if we're going to do a Let's Play show, it better be, like, about the gameplay, too, you know?
Right.
That's real important. Because, like, I've played games my whole life. Like, games are important to me. Like, I can definitely, like, if I made a fucking Pokemon Let's Play, it'd be, like, a real good Let's Play.
Yeah.
Like, you would learn shit about Pokemon. You know?
Well, you heard it here. If anybody wants
I would
a fucking
teach people about like IVs and EVs
if there is any demand for a Pantsu Party fucking Pokemon Let's Play, let us know, because like we don't know if that's an oversaturated market or if it's worth even going through the trouble of, like.
Yeah, but like I feel like that's something that I'd be able to do real well, just because like I've wanted to.
I just I think that if you had done it back when like Mumkey and Ben were doing their rivalry, it would have been this is too much.
No,
that's why I got burned out on watching.
I wanted to do Pokemon Let's Plays like when I was 12. Like I tried to do it, but my mic was too shitty.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't figure out how to balance the audio right, and like it was real difficult to edit like a Let's Play with Windows Movie Maker, because like what I wanted to do was more complex than just like game footage and audio, and like there's nothing, you can't really go too much beyond that with Windows Movie Maker. And I was like a poor kid, so I don't have access to like any software or anything, or like getting a good mic.
Right.
But I like was really into the idea of doing a Pokemon Yellow Let's Play and just talking about like what makes the game special, why Gen 1 is so interesting, just like the mechanisms of Gen 1 that make it so cool. Because I can go on to that shit for hours.
Yeah,
well, and talk about like specific stats and stuff. But it'd be like real deep like analysis. Like it'd be about the game,
Well, once again, let us know if you want to see that.
If people are ever interested in shit like that, I'd definitely like consider possibly doing that.
The list of shit that we have like planned for like possibilities for your channel is insanely long. Like there is enough Pantsu Party ideas to last at least half a year if we did all of them, like just the ones that we have already, and like obviously more are gonna emerge.
Mm-hmm.
I already have enough plans for my shit that I could last literally all year just doing all the shit that I've had ideas for, like in just fucking January. So like
me too. I feel like January was like a lot of just like sitting on ideas and like being real experimental and like coming up with a plan, and now it's like, okay, so now I have like several big like videos that I have ideas for, and I think there's like a reason to do them, and like I know there's gonna be like videos that come up because they're relevant, like if people are talking about maybe the Oscars, like you make an Oscar video, like that's something somebody could do, but you can't really like, you can't predict that most of the time. That's stuff that happens spur of the moment, but like for planned content I have enough stuff to get me through the rest of like until we move, and I can just work constantly and just work on the projects I already have. But I'm a creative individual, so that stuff's gonna evolve and change as I see the reception to the stuff I'm putting out. Like I'm being very receptive of the comments that I'm getting in my vlogs and stuff, and like I'm really gonna wait until like I waited until I saw like the reception before I worked on my big anime video. Like I wanted to see if people were coming to my content before I really like made my signature stuff. And like I kind of had to change the video, like the idea I had in my head around a whole lot, and I had to simplify.
It's a very different video now from what it was
like,
a month ago.
I feel like this is what people will come to my channel for. Like it's my unique like ideas and perspectives and just knowledge on like on things nobody else is talking about, but like have to do with the fact that I'm a girl usually. Or like that I'm coming from a unique place that isn't being really explored. So like that's what I'm excited about.
It's gonna be fucking dope shit.
I feel like I'm hyping people.
You did a good fucking. You're a fucking PR mastermind, but like. And I mean product recognition as well as fucking
public relations.
But like so with this channel we intended originally, like the original idea of this channel was never gonna have this kind of like long form content on it. It was originally going to be just like a couples vlogging channel with like strong conceptual
we
shows.
Had really weird ideas. Like
I still plan to do some of these ideas.
Yeah, me too, but we have to like work our way up into like a format.
So this channel is not intended to be like a lot of people are worried that this is going to end up like Digibros. Like they keep saying like, oh, corrupting your kids is going to go with Digibros. Like the intention of this channel is not and has never been to do this type of content. But this type of content is really fun and easy to do for now. And we want to build like, we want to have a foundation of an audience
and
before we
like
even do the real shit.
This is a good place for me to shine too. I can really like make my personality shine in like videos like this specifically.
Well, because like everybody knows if you're on this channel, like this is a Digi and May channel. This is not Digi's channel that he's putting his girlfriend on.
You're coming for like the dynamic of us.
Right,
like if you were a fan of the Let's Plays, like you should be subbed to this channel.
Or if you were a fan of like our podcast on After Dark. Like, because we're not like, you're not going to be on After Dark probably anymore. Like if we're doing a video together, it's on this channel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I want you to finish and fail. Like I want you to continue doing that, but like I want that to be something you own, because like I'm not so interested in making videos like that.
Yeah,
but like I love finish or fail.
Right, and I want to give you time to work on your shit too, you know, like, so you don't need to watch every fucking anime that came out in 2017.
Yeah, no, I definitely am interested in watching like the first episodes when they come out to like know what is like coming out,
right?
Because I'm a starting up anime YouTuber.
Like I mean, if I watch fucking Little Witch Academia, whether you're talking about it with me or not, you're gonna watch the show with me, because like there's a chance you also will separately be able to make a video about it.
And I mean, like if I'm like watching the show with you, like I can just tell you my ideas and you can bring that up in Finish or Fail.
Right.
Like I don't have to be there to present myself.
Yeah.
Because like it's not really made.
That's another thing about this is that at the time that we were doing those videos, like, you know, I felt really bad about the fact that I kept bringing up the things that you had like initially said in the show, and I would usually try to like say, oh, you were talking about this, and like try to get you to say it just because I wanted you to present your own ideas. However, my stance on that has shifted a little bit, because we're at a point now where we are basically co-writing each other's shit in some way.
Yeah, like
because like we read each other our shit.
Yeah,
like
literally everything we put out, we like do collaborate with to some extent. Like,
yeah, I
even
mean,
if it's just sharing
not so much my main channel videos, because with those I tend to surprise. Like I tend to hold off on reading it to you until it's like
your newest one.
Right, like I tend to hold off on showing you my shit until like it's at least a semi-complete stage, because like my writing can be kind of tumultuous until it reaches that point. Like sometimes like the Sword of the Stranger video, like I'm not gonna say it's like my best video or anything, but like it was significantly worse before I edited it to like format into a video well, and then it like once it all clicked and I understood like, okay, this is what I was going for and I can make it work like much better than I have so far, then like it works better. But yeah, other than that though, we like so much of what I talk about in vlogs is like we were having a conversation and then like I incorporate some element of what you shared into it, or like in your vlogs, because I edit them, like I put a lot of my personal like editing style into them. A lot of like the fact that every time there's a gap, I won't just cut the gap, I'll cut the first few likes and ums just to make sure it's like a clean beginning of a line, and like that's just
I mean, this isn't
my
permanent.
editing style.
Like
you know?
He's not going to be editing my videos forever, but he's like showing me the editing software.
Right.
Because I'm not familiar.
And techniques that like I've come up with that like you wouldn't think of on your own,
definitely.
You know?
Like,
because I didn't do that shit originally.
Because you're
like,
somebody who's like very familiar with Vegas, and like you've played around with it, and like you can really teach me about it. Right. And like show me what I can actually do with it, like the full variety. Because like I want to have and develop my own editing style, but like I know that I'm not going to be able to edit a video like as good as I want to, and it's important for me to like watch somebody do it. Yeah. And like to have a reason to care.
And also to like, I think part of what caused the simplification of like, simplification is a strong word, but like the changing nature of the video that you're working on first, because like the original idea would have been a much more ambitious editing project, and I think watching the edit helped you realize that.
Yeah, watching you edit it like made me really think about how this video would have to be edited.
Yeah.
And like what are the strong points of my delivery? And I really like this is the part I'm most enthusiastic to talk about. So like why even bother doing like actually talking about,
I would say the way this video evolved made me a lot more confident in it, because of the fact that like the core idea is great. It's comparing two really popular legendary shows that are kind of seen as trash now.
Yeah.
And like And like doing it with some like due deference to how like how popular these shows are in spite of being shitty. Like it's not just making fun of them. There's some like love to it, which I think has potential to make it a huge success. However, like the original idea was so like kind of nebulous and large that I felt like it was gonna take way too much footage to convey the point.
Like the video I had in mind was gonna be real long, and like I don't think I want to make a 20-minute video about like Elfen Lied and Chobits, because that would require me to like really get invested in both shows.
Yeah.
And like it's not worth my time to like watch all of Chobits seriously and like to write like a piece about Chobits, because you can't really say that much about it.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, it's fucking Clamp drawing beautiful art.
Yeah.
To, like, it's their first, like, ecchi kind of thing. Like, it's their first foray into that, to, like, medium that is, like, aimed at older males. Because they did, like, one shonen, they did Angelic Lair, which is a shonen anime, and that was, like, a male-oriented audience. But all of the stuff that Angelic Lair and Chobits are, like, tied a whole lot. It's a similar universe, apparently. I don't know anything about Angelic Lair, but, like,
all of the Clamp stories are tied together.
Okay,
like,
so
they all take place in the same universe.
I really, like, want to do a Clamp research project that might come out, like, I don't know when this will come out.
You should say 6 months.
I don't even want to give a time limit.
Say the words 6 months at least.
Okay, it's not coming out soon, because I want to watch everything Chobits. Like, I want to read all
Clamp.
the Chobits.
You just said Chobits twice in place of the word
It's
Clamp.
like 4 in the morning.
We're winding down on this podcast, by the
way. I want to, like, know everything about Clamp, because I think there's a lot of interesting things to say, and nobody's talking about it. And I'm, like, also tangentially into the same things that they are.
The thing is that, like, Clamp was talked about back in the text blogging days, but because they are not really relevant right now, nobody's talking about them on YouTube,
But they are relevant right now because Cardcaptor Sakura, which is why I want to put out this video that talks about Chobits, like, while that show is airing, and that's why I want to get it out as soon as possible.
We've got, like, 36 weeks before it's over.
So, like, I can still have elements about, like, in the same heart as my original concept of the script, where I'm talking about, like, why these shows are shitty now, but why they meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
But I'd be able to show that by talking about, like, fashion in the shows.
Yeah. And there's a lot to, like, I can help you with that a lot, because I've known about Clamp since fucking 2002, since I watched X.
And I did, like, a huge, like, I researched for, like, 3 hours straight, like, everything I could about who did what on Chobits and stuff, and, like, I was real excited. Like, I have some pretty good research for that.
All right, well, we don't need to hype our future content anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm taking this as like a promo shit, and this is like more of your, like, this was intended to be more promotional towards you.
Not really. I just wanted to promote this channel, the Corrupting Your Kids channel. Like, I want people to understand that this channel is not the randomly watch bullshit with us channel. Like, and that we are constantly evolving the way that works. And, like, there's a lot of unseen experimentation that went on with the Ota Cave thing, because while I'm really satisfied with what we got as the end product, we originally were going to make it more of a best of the worst style thing, where we were going to film our reactions to the shows.
Film our reactions
and we did film our reactions to the first 2 episodes of Key the Metal Idol, but, like, the setup we had was super weird.
Ridiculous.
And it was, like, just not... We didn't have enough to say about the show to really justify it. So, like... I just didn't think it would be, like, fun to try to edit that.
No,
and, like,
definitely not. And try to, like, find the interesting bits in that, like, no way.
Yeah, so, and to, like, slot them into the discussion perfectly.
That's a whole lot of footage.
There was only, like, one part of the of Key that I wished we had, which was, like, the whole church scene, because I go into that in detail in the discussion, and I wish I had my reactions to it, but, like, that's the only thing I could even see potential.
In the future, what you could do is just, like, get the camera and then rewind and then say, like, hey, this is, like, something that I've noticed while I'm watching it.
That's possible.
You could always do something like that, like, if that's something you feel...
That's actually kind of an interesting idea. Yeah. I will consider that editing style.
Because, like, you can always do that, you know?
Yeah.
You can always...
I mean, Finish or Fail has elements of that, where I just talk over shows sometimes. Like, pull out my camera and go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I was thinking when I brought that up.
Yeah. But, like, so... You know, we're trying to make the randomly watched shows make more sense. Like, I want them to be easier to watch. I want them to be something that, like, preferably you don't have to go download all these fucking shows. Like, with the seasonal anime thing, it might always be that way. And, like, clearly enough people are willing to put in the effort just because they want to watch a seasonal anime.
I think it's just a really unique idea, and, like, you know, it's kind of, like, it's low effort for us, but it's real fun for people involved.
But, like, right now, we don't have time yet to concentrate on making, like, the real meaty videos that we want to for this channel, because,
because we're focused on, like, launching
Pantsu Party
ourselves.
Needs to be launched. I need to, like, change my direction, you know?
We need to focus on ourselves, so this is just going to be, like, a fun time for now.
Right. But, anyway, hope you enjoyed this fucking long-ass podcast.
Yeah.
An hour per topic. That's good. That's very Digibro-esque.
Yeah.
So, see you in the next one. This is not like a weekly or monthly or it's whenever we fucking feel like it. That's this whole channel, by the way. There's no release schedule for anything. Everything on this channel is whenever we fucking feel like it, and it'll probably stay that way.
Yeah.
That's the best way to work.
Definitely look out for more watch seasonal bullshit with us, because I really want to finish the rest of the shows of the season.
Yeah.
To, like, know what I should be, like, keeping up with. Bye-bye.